Lakeridge Golf Course. What a great treat. So it's in Reno, Nevada, which is not California, but it's not too far away from California. And it's a Robert Trent Jones course. You might know him. He made a brilliant golf course called Spyglass. It's one of the greatest golf courses on God's green earth. And what this course really focuses on, well, two things. It was built in a time when golf balls and golf clubs didn't make the golf ball go as far. So in terms of some aspects, the amount of forgiveness it allows with the short distances on some holes do make the course feel a tad bit dated for a longer hitter, because it definitely is a course where if you trust the accuracy of your strike and you hit it a long ways, you definitely can bully this golf course. The main protection of the course, I would say, is the greens and the penalty areas, which are water, as you can hear in the Lakeridge. The number one hole most people want to play is the island green that's 224 yards. It can most likely back up the course because you're hitting off of essentially a mountain onto a man-made island, and it's just a shot that all around you're waiting to see. Spoiler alert, I didn't hit it on the green, but it's always cool to have kind of a quirky par 3 that you're waiting to play, kind of like Coeur d'Alene, and I think for many other people, TPC Sawgrass, which I've never played, where you go to the island green. There's many of these iconic holes, and I think people sometimes can define their round by it. It's definitely kind of one of these holes where there's not really a rhyme or reason or a logic to it. You just have to trust a number and then hope that that number you trusted works, because it takes time to understand what the golf club is going to do and how the ball reacts when going down so far from a mountaintop and at elevation. Something you should know if you're coming from California is the ball goes a lot further. I'd say it goes about 10 yards further. And you're going to see in this vlog, I airmail a lot of shots, and I thought they were online. And that's because at elevation, your ball goes further. I had never really experienced that fully until this, and I think that speaks to I'm striking the ball a bit better. But this was one of the first times where it's my golf ball was actually going a lot further than I expected. I was hitting shots online, and it would go past the pin. Rarely did I feel like I found the right mix of that, so I definitely think that you need to think about choosing clubs very carefully, because it was definitely an acquired taste that I didn't. We're in for a treat. Nevada golf right here at Lakeridge Golf Course. First hole, very strategic. You want to go over those trees and bunkers. You leave yourself a wedge in. I pulled a 5-wood, and as I said in the intro, I forgot that there's such a thing as elevation change. 140 pitching wedge, no way I can go over the green. In elevation, I could when I tug on it. There's a creek, a lot of forced carries to start your round. So if you're skittish to start your round, this course will abuse you. I've heard that sometimes above the hole, it's fast. On this day, it wasn't the fastest. Second hole, there is a lake forced carry, kind of like the Florida style of golf, like the Bay Hills and stuff, where you have to just go over this penalty area and then try to give yourself a good chance. I missed out right because left is death, and I love missing left. So that was actually a good miss for me. Pin was in a hard location. This green is very penalizing. So if you miss the right in the wrong tier, even if you hit a shot, you can do what I did, which is 3-putt, because it's very long, lots of slope. And with that putt, I had a big hill to go up. So I'd rather have an uphill putt that went by the hole than have one that goes up a big slope that could go back down. Third hole, very short par 4, definitely drivable for long hitters. I think that was a hybrid I hit, and it went surprisingly far, which once again was a theme of the day. Didn't really have a shot there that I felt super confident with. I guess I should have taken about a 7-iron and just tried to run it there, but it was 110 yards. Need to work on that at the range, just kind of low running shots, but that's something I haven't. 3 bogeys to start the round. The fourth hole is a par 5, struggling to say words. There's a cool monument that's dedicated to the members that play there. And this was a good feeling because this is a longer hole, and I hit 3-wood and still had a wedge in, which that's giving me more confidence knowing that I can abandon the driver if I don't feel the driver is being helpful on a given day. And this was 80 yards in. That's typically a stock lob wedge. Might have gotten it a little thin, but also didn't realize that there was elevation, so it flew to the back bunker. Not a great effort in order to get that there, and I left this hole once again with another bogey. 4 bogeys to start the round. Very gettable golf course. It's very much target golf. It's very much also short golf for a longer hitter. But when accuracy is not working, this course will eat you alive. Put this in the left-hand bunker, very short, about 300-yard par 4, and just gave myself a really, really hard 100-yard shot, and caught it a little thin, sand wedge, and it went long. And then I had this difficult chip. If you get this chip, know that everything goes left to right, and I almost paid a huge price on this shot because there's a slope that takes the ball, as you'll hear my commentary in the video. But this was kind of one of the putts that got the round going. Was made that, save par. Par saves early in a round really help. Really, really hard par 3 right here. I hit like a 9 or a pitching wedge with the wind. It's like 170 and it flew, and I just could not, once again, couldn't believe the yardages and the way the ball was going. Definitely threw me off a little bit. And then that's another bogey because I just kind of missed in a place that you don't want to miss. So that's always a rough one. 7th hole goes back up this hill. 7 and 8 are some truly great golf holes in my opinion. This is just a long par 4, but I hit a really good drive and had just 90 yards in. Tried to hit a feel little wedge shot and airmailed it once again. So that was kind of a bummer because it just felt like I was putting myself in good positions and then airmailing it past the greens. This is kind of a good look at the speed. I hit that, I feel, with good pace, and it didn't stop. And then I made the comebacker, which was a good feeling. 8 is definitely one of these holes where you could get your blood flowing. There's water that you have to carry, but it's very, very wide open to the sense that I missed right, and I didn't really get penalized. I just ended up in the rough and just had to lay up into a green that I probably would lay up into anyway because there's so much water that protects this hole. It's just a very scenic and I feel iconic hole. And then this is another one where I'm hitting a lob wedge in and I fly the green. And that was my lob wedge number. And I'm like, am I getting stronger? What is it? And it's altitude. I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't think about it. And yeah, so that's one of the first times I've ever played one of these courses where the altitude has actually affected me. It's crazy. And I was proud to get up and down from there. So hit that little section of the course and got 2 pars. This a 9th hole, par 4, really, really fun dogleg left. I took a 3-wood and I was able to cut that corner. Gave me 150 in, and I was really scared about missing out right and giving myself 200 in. So that 3-wood was a great decision. And then I absolutely striped my approach, and then sadly I didn't pay it off. But I hit a really good 9-iron into this hole from there, and yep, didn't hit it. So par train's going. 10th hole, it's on the other side of the property. I think many people would view this as like the prestige 9 because this deals with elevation change. This is once again a longer par 4. There's a creek that runs in there. I hit an 8-iron, a 3-wood 8-iron. Here's the creek that runs through the hole, and I absolutely hit a fantastic shot. And then I paid it off. So this is a really good feeling when you knock in a birdie after I missed one on the last hole. Tried to hit the dog. Very, very bad swing. Missed out right. This is a shorter par 4. And then this is one where I had about 95 yards. And I'm like, I'm going to hit lob wedge here. And then I don't know if it was my lie or whatever, but it did not go anywhere. And I was like, gosh darn it. And then I just had like a really feel-based shot. If you look, that bunker is right there. I had to kind of land it, and I gave myself a bad place to operate from. And then I snuck out with a bogey. But this course, there's a lot of really neat elements to it where you can't just overpower it and run it up. You have to kind of think your way through. Has a lot of replay value. The 12th takes on this lake. I hit an 8-iron, and I thought that was going to be plenty. I think the back of the green was 165, and I flew it. So wind with me, 8-iron. Tried to hit a little gap wedge and kill it on the rough because that was straight downhill. Didn't quite have it, and once again, take the bogey. Really interesting course because it makes you have to kind of play golf in many different aspects. I hit slow motion by accident, so we're going to do like a dramatic TV edit, like if this was a professional show, and that's my drive. This is once again a little bit of a dogleg left, a little bit of bomber's paradise, and then I had a good number at about 90 yards, and I'm like, that's a good sand wedge for me. That's pretty much what I view as a stock sand wedge. And there's a false front, it just climbs up a hill. I'm like uphill 90 yards with this. Once again, hit, and it just was too far. And then if you look, this is one of the few times on video you can see just how much slope this green has. And that was kind of like an Oakland Hills green where converted par. Really glad to get out of that hole with a par. Very drivable par 4. This is 265. I took 3-wood because I wanted to take out a big number on this hole. So I missed to the right, or I didn't miss to the right. That's where my ball ended up, and then I hit a bad chip. I actually hit straight, and then I hit a bad chip, and then that was my birdie attempt. Made par. Okay, that's fine. Signature hole. It's just this downhill shot that you're not going to see much of. It's an island green, 224. It plays like 190, everyone said. I tried to hit my hybrid. That was the wrong club. I totally tugged on it. Went over the green. Not a great feeling. Went from the chip area. Chip area went to here. 2-putt. That's what we call a triple bogey. And that's why that's the iconic hole. You wait all round to play it, and then you might not have a shot. Really a strange number. Quirky hole. Don't know if I love it. Next hole, once again, right to left hole, dogleg left, hit a good 3-wood, and then a nice wedge in, and then once again, Airmail Express, lob wedge, tried to take something off that lob wedge, can't remember the number. And this is once again, Lakeridge. I wouldn't say it's the fastest downhill putts, but they're fast enough where you definitely have to kind of commit to a speed and commit to a line. And it's definitely an enjoyable putt, and got out of there with par. This is just a very wide open, fun hole, the 17th, where it's just a short hole where it's based all on the line you take. Once again, just hit 3-wood, felt very confident about putting that in the fairway. My approaches, kind of all over the place, wasn't really as accurate as probably I would have hoped from where I was leaving myself. And I thought I made this. This was a really good roll, and then it just broke off. And yet another par, so not mad at that. And then this is the final hole, which is another kind of quirky hole, if we're being honest, because this is a hole with a lot of quirk where it just dog legs left. What I like about that is I was watching my swing to see what I did there, and I feel like I got more on the inside of the ball with the driver, which I'm happy to start missing that way. So this was an 8-iron. Because of my lie, I just wanted to get it over those trees, and I actually hit that a little too well, and I gave myself a $1.15, and that's typically a gap wedge for me. And even slowing it down, which probably made it a better shot because I probably swung better, it flew it just by a little bit by the elevation. And let's send us off home with something cool.
Get in. Oh, baby. Get in.
Oh, send them home.
Oh! Lukie!
Is this a par 4 or 5? 5. Big